I'm just going to go National League since Cardinals are National League. So the Arizona Diamondbacks, their managing partner is a guy named Ken Kendrick. He's actually one of the least wealthy owners, but he bought the franchise in 2004. And the value of the franchise for the Arizona Diamondbacks, who have won very little, by the way. So since 2004, the value of the franchise has gone up 603%.
Oh, man.
The Atlanta Braves, they're owned by Liberty Media. And they were bought for $450 million in 2007. Since then, the franchise value has gone up 318%. Chicago Cubs, the Ricketts family.
Yep.
They got this for a bargain in 2009 for $700 million. Since then, the value of the franchise, the Cubs franchise, has gone up 386%. 386%. Cincinnati Reds, Bob Castellini, who was once a partner of the Cardinals before he bought the Reds. He's one of Bill DeWitt's friends. They bought the franchise for $270 million in 2006, and the value of the Reds franchise, despite they haven't done really much winning at all, the value has gone up 300% since then. Colorado Rockies, ne'er-do-wells. Their owner is worth $700 million. He's not one of the wealthier owners. They bought it for $190 million in 1993. That was an expansion fee. Since then, the franchise value has gone up 585%. Oh, right?
Oh, good.
I know, man. Oh. Los Angeles Dodgers. The controlling partner is a guy named Mark Walter, but he heads the Guggenheim Group, which is basically, financiers and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So they bought the team for $2.15 billion in 2012, and that's a lot of money, right? $2.15 billion. But even since then, despite they've had to put a lot of money into it, and they've had problems with their TV contract and all this other stuff, the franchise is still going up by 67% in about 10 years, and that's only going to get higher and higher and higher. And that's what, believe it or not, is one of the more modest increases. So the Miami Marlins, who really are ne'er-do-wells, their owner, Bruce Sherman's worth $500 million. He bought the team for $1.2 billion in 2017, and since then, believe it or not, this is the only franchise that the value has gone down. This is the only major league franchise where the value has gone down. And that, shame on them. They deserve it. See, that's kind of the way this should happen. The Milwaukee Brewers, one of the better owners in the sport, I believe, is Mark Attanasio. And he's a $700 million guy. He bought the Brewers for $223 million back in 2005. The value of the Brewers since 2005 has gone up 436%.
Oh, my goodness.
The Mets, Steve Cohen, a little too early because he just bought it. He's worth $16 billion, by the way, and bought it for $2.4 billion in 2020. So it's still the value of the franchise for the Mets is still actually going up, but it's only a smidge because, again, he really the first full year he was in business with the Mets was last year. That will continue to go up, though. Philadelphia Phillies. I love this guy's story, John Middleton. He's got a net worth of $3.3 billion, and he bought the team for $30 million back in 1981. He was one of the partners. So you'll love this, Jim Hewer. Mm-hmm. The Phillies' franchise value appreciation has gone up 6,920%.
What?
Yeah. They only bought it for $30 million. Now it's worth $2.1 billion.
Oh, my God.
And you know how this guy made his money? I love this, right?
I don't know this story.
I know. I'm a cigar guy, although I haven't really smoked cigars in over a year. But I'll always consider myself a cigar guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In 1856, Middleton's great-grandfather founded a small retail tobacco operation that more than a century later would launch the Black and Mild cigar brand. In 2007, Middleton, and this is the Phillies owner, sold his the business started by his great grandfather to Altria, the parent company of Philip Morris, for $2.9 billion.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So here's a guy that basically, look, I guess you could say took over a family business and made something really big out of it. So, yeah, how about the guy who owns the Pirates? He's one of the worst owners in sports. I mean, he just doesn't care. He doesn't try. He doesn't like people. I mean, it's right on down the line. He takes handouts from other owners and puts it in his pocket. And this is who the owners, by the way, are trying to protect, guys like this. Why? What are they putting into the game? Seriously. And yet you got people who are on the owner's side. All right, Bob Nutting. He purchased the Pirates for $92 million in 1996. They're worth $1.29 billion. So since he has owned the team, their franchise value has gone up by 1,305%. And I repeat, what in the hell has he done?
Oh, that's pathetic.
What has he done for the people of Pittsburgh and what used to be a great baseball town? And what has he done for the other owners who give him welfare that he doesn't deserve? What has he done to have a franchise that goes up 1,300% in value since he's owned it, with him tanking like most of the time, right?
That's terrible.
I know. St. Louis Cardinals, see, I've been going in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Forbes listed him with a net worth of $4 billion, and they purchased the team at a bargain price of $150 million in 1995, and actually it was less than that because they flipped the garages and got, a bunch of money for that.
Yeah.
Currently, the Cardinals are valued at $2.2 billion since the DeWitts and his partners bought it. The franchise value has gone up by 1,369%. Right?
Yeah. Now, I would say, I don't want to interrupt your numbers, but I would just say this. They have put money and resources into it, unlike
they have.
the Pirates. But anyway, go ahead.
And I'll remind fans, and I know, we're going to anger people by pointing this out because, of course, DeWitt's the devil incarnate. I forgot about that. I'm glad I was reminded about that earlier today by a listener. The other thing they did, and again, they really don't get much credit for this. And again, I'm not saying we need to have a parade. I'm just saying, in contrast to so many other sports franchises, including some of the ones I've mentioned in this National League batting order, the Cardinals built the new stadium and paid for nearly 80% of the cost.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
they didn't. Yeah, they got some public money because infrastructure works, tax and some tax breaks, sure. But how many franchises in sports basically over the last 35, 40, 50 years have, in effect, picked up 80% of the cost? So I think they've been good civic partners. Not sure about some of the giveaways, public money-wise, of Ballpark Village. And so, yeah, I'm not real thrilled about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd be, considering how much they win, how many people they bring to the city, how many times they've put St. Louis on the national stage in a really good way with October baseball. They've been good partners in terms of St. Louis, the St. Louis region. I mean, and I'll stand by that 100%. No one can tell me they haven't been.
I'd agree with that.
The San Diego Padres, Peter Seidler. I should know that. I don't. I apologize. He's worth $3 billion. They bought the Padres in 2012 for $800 million, and the value has already appreciated 220%. San Francisco Giants, Charles Johnson, he's worth $4.4 billion. Bought the team for $100 million. In 1993, oh boy, I know that this is going to look good. The value appreciation is 3,000% since then.
Oh,
yeah,
that's the most so far.
Yeah,
but the Phillies were pretty high, but
how dare these damn players expect to get more than 4.9% of the revenue, total revenue in baseball? How dare those greed heads?
Oh my goodness,
right? So yeah, you listen to Manfred, and you'd be convinced. These guys are one step away for applying for public assistance, and they could do so much more to make money if they wanted to. But they're trying to be great citizens to the community. If they played the stock market and did some other things, oh my gosh, the value that they would accrue. Oh, they'd be so much wealthier. But they're just good, solid citizens. They're good Samaritans. They're owning baseball to their own detriment, owning baseball teams because they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart because they love their communities. Yeah, that's the line. He actually said something like that, Manfred, a few weeks ago, Anyway, just wanted to give some perspective to the people that have the crocodile tears for owners for some reason, right?
Yes. I have written down on my notes when he was talking. Payroll disparity problem. We have one. I'm like, well, whose fault is that? Right?
You keep giving money to Bob Nutting, you idiot.
Right. It's just one of the things that as he's talking to go, we have a payroll disparity problem. I go, and that's your fault. Frustration.
I know.
Oh boy.
Major League Players Association. Since we're we carried the Manfred propaganda session for 30 minutes. So I think maybe about 20. The last thing we should do is, one thing we should do is just give you the Players Association statement. These evil players. See what they had to say. If you just joined us, I'm being sarcastic, calling the players evil. Here's the statement, quote, Rob Manfred and MLB's owners have canceled the start of the season. Players and fans around the world who love baseball are disgusted, but sadly not surprised. I think that's true with people in touch with reality. From the beginning of these negotiations, players' objectives have been consistent: to promote competition, provide fair compensation for young players, and to uphold the integrity of our market system. Against the backdrop of growing revenues and record profits, we are seeing nothing more. We are seeking nothing more than a fair agreement. What Rob Manfred characterized as a, quote, defensive lockout is, in fact, the culmination of a decades-long attempt by owners to break our player fraternity. As in the past, this effort will fail. We're united and committed to negotiating a fair deal that will improve the sport for players, fans, and everyone who loves our game. So there you go. Fans on the ground in Florida, according to Bob Nightingale, are chanting, "We want baseball." It's something else that they're in this state. We just keep shaking our heads at it, right?
Yeah. I did another thing that I thought was interesting, Bernie. The first statement was, well, we've canceled the first two series. And to be honest with you, Bernie, while there's disappointment, I really wanted to go, that doesn't matter to you guys. Right. Canceling 6 games is a kick in the bucket. So, well, the aggravation is right there, man. It just really is. First time in a long time for me, Bernie, where I just go, oh, that's enough.
So I want to do this, and again, I know it's not for everybody, and I won't be offended. And first of all, I won't know if you switch the station, but if you are, and even if you told me, I wouldn't be offended, because I think I think I have an obligation this day to try to put some of this stuff in perspective. It's not like I enjoy talking about it, but it's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big issue, and so I'm just trying to do my best to put some certain things into context. A reporter named Travis Salchik, who worked for Fangraphs, he used to work in Pittsburgh. He works for The Score now. He, from where I sit, I think he's the best in the game as far as sports writing, in terms of explaining the economic issues, at least in terms of how it affects the players, or sort of where the players stand in this, because too many people, I should say, when they think of players, they think about the guys making the huge money. They think about Max Scherzer driving a Porsche, and they think about all that stuff. And it's not really truly representative in terms of, the overall body of players. The top 1% of players are doing fantastic. They're doing great. I mean, the Max Scherzers and so many more like him. But the other 99% or so, they're doing fine. I mean, don't get me wrong. But again, it's against the backdrop of MLB revenues reaching record highs and with more money on the way, yet the players are losing ground in terms of how much their salaries in the industry, how much of a percentage of the overall revenue it takes up. And it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, where it should be growing because the revenue's growing. So the player's percentage should be ratcheting up a little bit. That's all. It's that simple. It's not that complicated. It can be made complicated, but if you just try to simplify it, that's what it comes down to. But as Travis Sawchuk wrote a piece earlier this year, well, actually it might have been late last year, you have a situation where service time requirements to reach free agency and arbitration have remained stagnant for a long time. So there's a compensation gap between the big stars and the sort of the underclass of players, whose compensation doesn't match really what they're contributing to the game as far as, value. It's still 6 seasons of service time to become a free agent. That has not changed since 1976. Big league careers are declining. The average service time of MLB players was 4.79 years in 2003. And the last surveyed year, it had fallen to 3.71 years in 2019. So players have lost about a year of average career time, really, only in the last it's about 16 years or so, because some of these jobs are disappearing because older players aren't worth the money. The owners are like, well, we're going to sign this young, cheap guy over here, and we'll be better off for it. And they're not wrong to feel that way, by the way. There are far few players, Jim Hewer, in their 30s. For instance,
Oh, yeah.
the share of position players age 30 plus has declined. They represented 40.4% of all hitters in 2004. But this past season, they represented only 30% of all hitters. We're talking about players in their 30s. Of all players to step on a Major League Baseball field in 2019, 63% had less than 3 years of service time. So you see what I'm saying? Those are the people that are doing the best job in terms of value for the dollar because they're not making money. They're not making money in the baseball context. They're not into the big money years at all. That represents, and this number's gone up, by the way. I would imagine it's closer to 70% now, or high 60%. So, more than 60%, probably somewhere like 67% now, the players that play ball in the majors that have less than 3 years of service time. And what the owners have done is effectively prevent them from getting paid bigger dollars, much bigger dollars earlier in their career. Careers are also starting later. The average debut age of 25.6 years in 2021 was up by over a year if you go all the way back to 2011. So fewer players are reaching arbitration and free agency, and when they do, they're more likely to be in the decline phase of their aging curve. More and more performance here. This is really telling here. When you're wondering why the players wanted some of this money transferred to younger players, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Without all this emphasis on the Scherzers and the Garrett Coles, and I could go on down the list. I mean, let's think about, all right, who's driving the game right now? What's the biggest group of talent that is driving the game? Overall group of talent that is driving the game? 20-somethings. In 2021, players in their age 26 season, this is according to Travis Sawchuk, players in their age 26 season last year produced the most combined wins above replacement of any age group. They combined for the most plate appearances and innings of any age group. And they were, based on their productivity and the scales that teams use to assess value, these 20-somethings, and specifically this 26-year-old age group that played the most and did the most as a group, as an age group, they were underpaid by nearly $400 million. The vast majority were paid at or near MLB's minimum wage because they had accumulated less than 3 years of service time. So according to Travis Sawchek, and look, he's got no dog in the hunt, and his calculations are as honest as could be. Age 26 players last year combined for only $135 million in total salary. But if you divide them up and you say, okay, well, let's put a financial tag on their value. Age 26 players were worth $533 million in value, performance value. Yet they only were paid $135 million. And that's a lot of them, by the way. As a percentage, age 26 players last season combined for less than 15% of the wins above replacement, right?
Yeah.
That's still a lot, 15% of all wins above replacement, but they also represented only 3.8% of the total pay. Every age category from 22 to 28 was underpaid according to value for the dollar. 22 to 28, players 22 to 28, they accounted for 56% of the wins above replacement, but only 26% of the pay. So the point being, and there's a lot more than that, and I know it's kind of boring, right? But the players in their 20s are carrying baseball factually and in terms of statistics, in terms of who's playing the most games, who's getting the most done, whose performances represent the most amount of value. They're the ones that are driving the game. They're the ones that are making teams better. Think of Tyler O'Neill, for example. Think of some of the breakout stars the Cardinals have had, and think about how young they were. And they're just not being paid. They're being paid a fraction of their actual value under baseball's standards of what payers have been paid historically. So, go back to what I just said, where 22 to 28 last year, they accounted for 56% of the total value in terms of performance, but only received about 26% of the pay. Now, if you go back to like players somewhere between 31 and 33, players age 31 to 34, they accounted for 23.4% of performance production, but they received 46% of the pay. The point being is that this system's upside down. And it's okay to phase out older players because we know, if you're objective, and I'm objective, we know that they're not, there are exceptions, of course, but they're not as a group a good value for the dollar. They're just not. So it's okay. It's understandable if front offices want to phase them out, owners want to phase them out or give them a lot less. That's totally reasonable. But if you're going to be fair and square about this, this also means that you need to find a way to get more money into the coffers of the young players who are carrying your game. And despite a little bit here, a little bit there was nothing that the owners proposed in this unsuccessful negotiation that accomplished that. Because I said it much early in the show. No, they get to have it both ways. They get to phase out older players who aren't worth the big dollars, but they still have the driving force in their game, the 20-somethings. They still have the vast majority of them playing for really cheap contracts where their value transcends their pay. Their value is so much higher than what they're paid, it's almost laughable. So see, this is what this is all about. Just to simplify it, it's all about keeping those two dynamics in place. Reduce the pay of the older players, phase them out because they provide less value than ever before and they're not worth them big money. But make sure you're not taking that money and in effect transferring it or a lot of it to the young guys who are actually your best stars as a group and who are doing the most for your teams. So they've got this thing gerrymandered exactly how they want it. That's why there's no deal. Why would they make a deal? This is perfect for owners, right?
Oh, no doubt. And Bernie, free agency is set up for guys who get their 6 years and, like you said, get above that 26-year-old mark that you said, where the majority of the great players are, that's when they are supposed to get their big contract. Well, by that time, the ship has sailed for some of them.
Yeah, for a lot of them, some of them.
They're still going to be good players, but everybody knows if you give them multi-year deals, that's well on the other side of that. So, like you said, it's set up for them now not to make that money anymore, because I shouldn't give them credit, but I think most of the owners have figured that out now. Not all of them. There's always going to be one guy who's going to give some guy an Albert Pujols type contract again, but I think they've realized those days they've gotten smarter. And, with all those realities right there in front of you, I don't know if it'll ever get fixed, Bernie, because the only way I see it getting fixed is the players just have to go, well, we're just not going to play anymore. And I know nobody can afford to do that.
You want it?
And
here's a comparison. Now, I don't have NFL, but let's compare young players in Major League Baseball to their counterparts in the National Hockey League and the NBA. And this is really telling. This is what we're talking about. Now I got to find it again. But if you look at what players, hold on one second, and I apologize to everyone, including my friend Jim.
No, we're good. We're good.
If you look at what the young guys get in terms of their counterparts, it's really rather startling. Like in the National Hockey League, where the heck is this? Sorry. I do this all the time. Oh, here we go. I found it.
There's a lot of things open there. I get it.
I know. In Major League Baseball, all right, now listen to this. This really nails it as far as like explaining the kind of the contrasting it to at least two other major sports. In 2019, 63% of the players, we mentioned this earlier, 63% of the players that stepped on a major league field, because this is the most recent year that we have the full season data, that's all.
Mm-hmm. Right.
63% of all players that stepped on a field in 2019 had less than 3 years of service time, right? 63% Major League Baseball had less than 3 years of service time. At the opening of the NHL season this year, 23% of players were paid within 10% of the league's lowest wage. And in the NBA, only 3% were paid within the league's lowest wage area. So you've got this immense percentage of Major League Baseball players who are less than 3 years into their careers, and they're all making, not all of them, but most of them, overwhelming majority of them, are making the short money. And compared to NHL, where it's a figure of more than 30% less than Major League Baseball, 30% less of NHL players are getting paid in the lowest wage group. And in the NBA, it's only 3%. So it's just strange how Major League Baseball, who despite all of its flaws, they've got more TV money rolling in, and they can't wait. They're salivating over the gambling money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet they just keep tamping down on percentage of money being earned by the players. I don't know. Call me old-fashioned. I just think that sucks. That's all.
Oh, it does.
Well,
one more thought on this with shutting things down. And one of the conversations is 12 playoff teams as opposed to 14. We keep hearing MLB wants 14.
Right.
And to your point, you're talking about gambling money coming in. I guarantee you, Bernie, the MLB has set up already with somebody who, whatever the carrier is, to pay for the streaming or the TV rights for 14-game playoff. And that's why they're dead set on not getting. Within 2 weeks of this, if they find out that they're going to play here within 2 weeks, you'll know, oh, hey, by the way, the 14-team playoff is going to be on this, this, and this. It's already set up, and that's why they won't give in on any of that, because they see all that money that they know they can have.
That's right. That's right. And see, this will crack. They're hoping to crack them. You're right, Jim.
Yeah.
So they actually will agree to go to 14 teams in the playoffs. And you know who loves that? You know who loves that? That 14-team playoff, 7 in each league. I'll tell you who loves it. It's teams like the Pirates. It's teams like the Rockies. It's teams like the Reds. It's teams that actually can now set a goal that say, you know what? If everything breaks right, we don't even have to finish 500. We can be a losing team and still make the playoffs.
Which is right.
So this will give people, some people around here, want to. They're going to act like Bill DeWitt now will only want to win 85 games because that's all he'll need to make the playoffs. I don't agree with that, first of all. And besides, I think Bill DeWitt's going to, has been very consistent in what he spends. He's made a top 10 payroll on average, like his entire time as the Cardinals owner. He's not suddenly going to go from $160 million to like $105 million payroll. He just won't. And if he does, I'll have to think of a stunt on the air. I'll drink like an entire bottle of red hot sauce or something.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, but what it does do, and this isn't giving these teams incentive. What you think? You think Bob Nutting and the Pirates is going to ratchet up his? Oh, I got a better chance to make the playoffs. Oh, I'm going to raise my payroll to $60 million this year. No, it's going to be the exact opposite. He'll do a little nip and tuck. And he'll think, we got a pretty good young nucleus, nip and tuck. We can make the playoffs maybe if we're a couple, 3-4 games under 500, Yeah. Well, he ain't going to spend a lot more money. The Reds aren't going to spend a lot more money.
No.
It's just, and to think so is just really naive. So this opens the door, actually, for the ne'er-do-wells, the teams that are getting the welfare from fellow owners and not doing it to make their teams better. This actually gives them more incentive to stay exactly where they are. Well,
Wow.
They have, on a percentage basis, an improved chance of making the playoffs. I'm talking about teams that don't have much of a chance to make it now because they're not spending money and they're not committed to winning. But they might be able to backdoor it. And by the way, anybody who puts the Cardinals in that classification, as much as we can criticize with them, and I do, one of the foolish things I've ever heard. Like the Cardinals or the Pirates.
Yeah, they're not the Pirates. The Pirates are in a class, them and the Marlins by themselves.
So the welfare kings in Major League Baseball, the guy in Pittsburgh, and there's some others, shamefully Baltimore. There are others. We know who they are. The welfare kings now can continue to be welfare kings, yet now, if it goes to 14 teams, they can collect the welfare money from other owners, but have an enhanced opportunity, an enhanced chance to make the playoffs. Yeah, that's really a good system. Hey, but those damn greedy players.
All their fault.
Let me tell you about these damn greedy players.
Wow.
Oh, man. It's just got to be the dumbest country in the free world. Anyway.
It's hard to argue against that sometimes, Bernie.
Sometimes, yeah, You're right.